The stars of the Orion Arm shimmered like distant lanterns in the endless black of space. Beyond those lights, ships drifted slowly, not in battle but in silence. The long war between the Human Confederation and the Valtari Dominion had finally reached a breaking point. Or so everyone thought. For years, humanity had fought with courage even when outnumbered. The Valtari were an ancient and proud alien race. Their technology advanced and their fleets massive. When the war began, the Valtari expected an easy victory. They underestimated the human spirit. But now even human courage seemed close to fading. On the flagship UHS Resolute, Admiral Elena Ward stood on the bridge watching the stars. Her dark uniform was neat, her silver hair tied back with care. Her eyes, however, carried the weight of 1,000 lost ships. Around her, officers worked quietly, afraid to speak too loudly. The hum of engines and the soft chime of consoles filled the air. "Admiral," said Commander Ryan Cole, her second-in-command. "Message from the Galactic Union Council. The Valtari have agreed to peace talks." Ward turned slowly. "Peace talks?" "Yes, ma'am. They're calling for a meeting on the neutral station Celeste Prime. The Valtari Chancellor will attend personally." The bridge went silent. For a long moment, only the quiet beeping of instruments could be heard. "After all this?" Ward asked. "They bombed our colonies. They shattered our trade routes. And now they want to talk peace?" Cole hesitated. "The Council believes it's a chance to end the war." Ward looked out the window again. The stars reflected faintly in her eyes. "Or a chance to finish what they started," she murmured. The next morning, the official message arrived. It was polite, formal, and cold. To the leaders of the Human Confederation, the Valtari Dominion offers peace and lasting stability under new mutual terms. Representatives are invited to Celeste Prime for final agreement. The signature at the bottom belonged to High Chancellor Sarix Valthar, known across the galaxy for his cunning. Ward read it twice. Then she placed the datapad down carefully on the table in her private office. "Mutual terms," she said softly. "They always use that word when they mean surrender." A small hologram flickered to life beside her, the image of President Aiden Cross of the Human Confederation. His voice was calm but tired. "Elena," he said, "I know what you're thinking. But the Council insists we attend. If we refuse, they'll call us warmongers. Humanity can't afford to lose political support." Ward folded her arms. "And if it's a trap?" Cross sighed. "Then we trust you to see it coming." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "I always do." 2 days later, the human delegation departed for Celeste Prime. The Resolute led the way, flanked by 2 escort cruisers. The rest of the human fleet remained hidden, scattered across the edges of known space. As the ships moved through hyperspace, the crew felt uneasy. They had survived battles, blockades, and sieges, but peace felt more dangerous than war. Lieutenant Sarah Lynn, the youngest officer on the bridge, looked nervous. "Admiral," she asked quietly, "do you think they really want peace?" Ward didn't answer immediately. She watched the swirling blue of hyperspace, the endless light streams passing by. "I think they want us to kneel," she said finally, "but humans don't kneel, not to anyone." Sarah nodded, her fear replaced by quiet pride. Celeste Prime was a marvel of architecture, a massive station orbiting a calm blue star. Its shining towers reached into the void, and thousands of ships from dozens of species circled around it. The Galactic Union Council had declared it the safest place in the galaxy. As the Resolute approached, traffic control sent a coded message. "Welcome, Human Confederation. The Council awaits you in the Grand Hall." The human ship slowed, guided by shimmering docking lights. Inside the Grand Hall, hundreds of alien delegates prepared for the peace meeting. Their faces, scaled, furred, or smooth, turned as the humans entered. Some smiled politely. Others whispered behind closed mandibles or mouths. Humans were still new to galactic politics, and many species saw them as reckless newcomer. Brave, yes, but impulsive. At the far end of the hall stood Chancellor Sarix Valthar, tall and regal, his skin a deep shade of silver blue. His eyes glowed faintly, showing both pride and contempt. When Admiral Ward and her officers stepped forward, he smiled thinly. Humanity, the warriors of the void," he said, his voice smooth and echoing. "At last we meet not in battle but in peace." Ward's tone remained calm. "That depends on what peace means to you, Chancellor." He chuckled softly. Peace means obedience, cooperation, balance. You humans are strong but undisciplined. The Dominion can guide you. The hall went silent. Some alien delegates shifted uncomfortably. Others avoided eye contact. Ward's face showed no emotion. Guide us? She repeated. We seem to have guided ourselves just fine. Valthar waved his hand and an aide stepped forward carrying a glowing document. Your treaty, the Chancellor announced. Sign this and humanity will join the Dominion as a protected species. You will have safety, under our control. Ward took the document. Her eyes scanned the text. Each line cut deeper. Demands for human disarmament, limits on travel, surrender of Mars and Luna colonies, and the right for Valtari ships to monitor Earth's orbit. Commander Cole whispered under his breath. It's not peace. It's slavery. Ward closed the document. And if we refuse? She asked. Valthar's smile widened. Then we will finish what we began. For a long moment no one spoke. The sound of engines from outside the station hummed faintly through the walls. Then Ward stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but there was steel beneath every word. Chancellor, humanity has fought wars before. We have been attacked, betrayed, and left for dead. But we have never surrendered. Not once. The Valtari delegates laughed softly, a sound like breaking glass. You humans are brave, Valthar said, but foolish. You cannot win. The Dominion has 1,000 fleets. Ward's eyes didn't waver. Then it will be a long war. At that moment, a quiet chime echoed in her earpiece. A coded signal from the Resolute's tactical officer. 3 simple words appeared on her wrist display. All fleets in position. Her heart slowed. Everything was ready. Ward looked back at the Chancellor. You asked for peace, but you offered chains. Humanity doesn't wear chains. She turned to leave. This meeting is over. Valthar's voice rose sharply. You dare defy the Dominion in front of the Council? Ward paused at the door. Without turning, she said softly, We don't defy tyrants, Chancellor. We remove them. And with that, she and her officers exited the Grand Hall. As they walked through the shining corridors of Celeste Prime, the officers exchanged glances of tension and awe. Is it time, ma'am? Cole asked quietly. Ward nodded once. Send the signal. Begin Operation Dawnfire. From the dark corners of space, the human fleet awoke. Hidden behind asteroids and moon shadows, hundreds of ships came online. Engines flared blue, power cores surged, and command channels filled with a single word repeated across every vessel. Execute. Across the galaxy, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. The peace talks were not over. They were the beginning. Admiral Ward stood at the viewing deck watching as the Resolute detached from the station. Her reflection shimmered against the stars. Let them believe we came for peace, she said softly. It will make the truth hit harder. As the ship's engines roared to life, the human fleet began to form. Silent, vast, and unstoppable. The Valtari believed they were ending a war. They were wrong. Humanity had only just begun. The echo of Admiral Ward's footsteps faded through the silver corridors of Celeste Prime Station. Behind her, the grand doors of the Galactic Council Hall shut with a deep metallic sound. The sound of trust breaking. Delegates from 100 worlds whispered among themselves, confused and worried. Only the Valtari Chancellor, Sarix Valthar, remained calm. His expression was smooth, almost pleased. Let her go, he said softly to his guards. Humans speak bravely before they break, but deep inside, even Valthar felt something uneasy, a sharp instinct that told him the humans had not come to surrender. In the private chamber of the human delegation, Admiral Elena Ward stood beside a holographic table, her face calm but her mind racing. Around her, officers worked quickly, their voices low but steady. Fleet positions confirmed, reported Commander Cole. Task Force 1 is hidden near the Valtari border. Task Force 2 is cloaked behind the asteroid belts. All ships report green. Ward nodded slowly. And the Council's communications? Still open, said Lieutenant Sarah Lynn. They're trying to contact us, but we're keeping the channel silent. Ward looked up at the ceiling. Beyond the walls, millions of tons of metal and machinery surrounded them, the heart of the galaxy's politics. Every major species had a representative here. They all believed this was a moment of peace. None of them realized that the galaxy was standing on the edge of fire. Send a message to President Cross, Ward said quietly. Code phrase, the garden burns at dawn. He'll understand. Cole nodded and moved to the console. Meanwhile, in the main council chamber, tension was rising. Delegates from peaceful worlds, Naman the Ailari, the Thrix, and the Korai, spoke nervously to each other. What happened? One asked. Why did the humans walk out? Perhaps they refused peace, said another. Or perhaps the Valtari pushed too far. The Chancellor raised his voice deep and echoing. Order! The humans have shown their true nature. They speak of honor but come with hidden anger. They are not ready for peace. A murmur spread across the hall. Some nodded in agreement. Others looked uncertain. The humans had earned a strange reputation during the war. Fierce, unpredictable, but honest. Many aliens respected them even when they feared them. The Union speaker, an elderly being with 4 eyes and a soft voice, spoke carefully. Chancellor Valthar, the Union invited both sides to this table. Peace must not end in conflict. Valthar gave a gentle smile that didn't reach his eyes. Of course, Speaker. But you see how they behave. They reject peace, they reject reason. We must ensure they do not bring war upon us again. Behind him, a Valtari officer whispered something into his ear. The Chancellor's eyes narrowed slightly. What is it? He asked softly. The officer's voice was almost trembling. Sir, our border patrols have lost contact with several outposts near Sector 9, and there are strange readings near the Vega corridor. Energy signatures. Human. Valthar straightened slowly, his calm mask slipping for a fraction of a second. Impossible, he said. Their fleet was crippled. Perhaps not anymore, the officer whispered. Back aboard the Resolute, Admiral Ward watched as the blue star of Celeste Prime burned brightly beyond the window. Her reflection looked back at her, tired eyes, determined heart. Sarah Lynn approached carefully. Admiral, the Council is demanding to know your intentions. Should we respond? Ward shook her head. Not yet. Let them wonder. She turned to Cole. Status on Operation Dawnfire. Final stage ready, he replied. All captains waiting for your command. Ward looked at the small hologram of the galaxy floating above the table. Blue dots represented the human fleet, now surrounding the Valtari territories like quiet hunters. Red lines marked enemy trade routes and weapon stations. For years, humanity had been outmatched, their ships smaller, their technology outdated. But they had learned. Every defeat taught them something. Every battle made them sharper, and now they were no longer the weaker side. Ward touched the hologram gently, zooming in on the Valtari home system. They thought we would beg for peace, she said. They forgot who we are. Back in the council chamber, panic began to spread. Reports arrived from Valtari systems. Strange warp readings, missing patrols, unresponsive fleets. Your ships are under attack, shouted one Valtari general. Human vessels appearing from nowhere. They're cutting through our defense lines. The Chancellor's composure finally broke. They dare, he hissed. This was supposed to be peace. Across the room, alien delegates gasped. The council speaker stood, his voice trembling. This cannot be true. Humanity agreed to a ceasefire. A calm voice echoed from the chamber's intercom. It was Admiral Ward. This is Admiral Elena Ward of the Human Confederation, she said clearly. We came to this station in good faith, but the Valtari offered us only submission. We do not accept that. Humanity does not surrender. Not to threats. Not to arrogance. Not to those who break their word. The hall went silent. Everyone listened. Our fleets are not attacking civilians, Ward continued. We are targeting only Valtari military strongholds and war factories, the same ones that fueled their attacks on our colonies. We do this not for revenge, but for justice. Valthar's voice boomed through the hall. Justice? You call this justice? You are warmongers. Ward's voice stayed calm. No, Chancellor. We are survivors. Then the channel went dead. In orbit above Celeste Prime, hundreds of ships from different races watched as streaks of light flashed across the distant stars. Explosions flickered like tiny suns far away. The first signs of the human offensive. Captains of alien ships stood in silence, unable to believe what they were seeing. The humans had launched a full-scale operation across multiple sectors at once, something even the most powerful empires struggled to do. The Ailari ambassador, a tall being with transparent wings, whispered, "How did they build so many ships? We thought they were losing." They were, another replied quietly. Until now. On the Resolute, the command deck pulsed with light as status reports flowed in. Task Force 1 reports victory at Vega Outpost. Task Force 2 has disabled Valtari orbital cannons. Civilian zones untouched. Ward listened silently, her eyes fixed on the tactical screen. Every green mark was a success. Every blue mark was a human ship still fighting. Commander Cole smiled faintly. It's working. They never saw it coming. Ward gave a small nod. Because they thought we were like them. They don't understand that humans fight hardest when cornered. Sarah Lynn turned from her console. Admiral, message from the Valtari command. They're requesting immediate communication. Ward folded her hands. Patch it through. The image of Chancellor Valthar appeared. His face pale, his calm gone. You have broken the peace, he shouted. There was no peace, Ward answered softly. Only your control. You cannot fight the Dominion. Ward's gaze hardened. We already are. Across the galaxy, the battle spread. Human ships moved in precise lines, cutting through enemy fleets without chaos or cruelty. They destroyed weapon stations, then retreated to avoid unnecessary harm. Even their enemies began to realize this was not simple vengeance. It was discipline, justice, and warning. Within hours, news spread across the entire Galactic Union. Species who once ignored humanity now watched in awe. They had seen the humans suffer quietly. Now they saw their strength. And something changed in the way they spoke the word human. At last, the council called for an emergency meeting. The chamber was quiet, filled with shock and fear. The speaker turned toward the human seat, now empty, and said softly, Perhaps we never understood them. We thought they wanted power, but maybe they only wanted respect. Outside, the stars burned brighter, reflecting off the polished hulls of the human fleet as it moved with silent purpose through the void. On the bridge of the Resolute, Admiral Ward stood tall. Prepare the next transmission, she said. We will send our terms for real peace, one built on fairness, not fear. Commander Cole nodded. And if they refuse again? Ward looked at the stars. Then they'll learn what peace means to humans. The Resolute turned slowly, its engines lighting the darkness like a sunrise. The battle was far from over, but the galaxy had already changed forever. Humanity had spoken, not with words, but with will. The galaxy had never seen such quiet. After the first human strikes, the Galactic Union's communication grids filled with confusion. Reports arrived from every corner of Valtari space. Broken fleets, damaged outposts, and entire systems going silent. The humans had attacked with speed and precision no one thought possible. But now, after the first shockwave of battle, came silence. For 3 long days, the stars burned without sound. The human fleet had vanished from sensors, and no one knew what they were planning next. On Celeste Prime Station, fear filled the halls that once echoed with speeches of peace. Delegates avoided each other's eyes, whispering rumors about the humans. Some said their ships could cloak themselves completely. Others claimed Earth had built new weapons that could tear apart planets. None of it was confirmed, but everyone believed it. In the council chamber, Chancellor Sarix Valthar stood before a massive hologram, showing the Dominion's damaged sectors. Red lights blinked across the map like small fires. His voice was sharp with anger and disbelief. "This is unacceptable," he roared. "We are the Dominion. We do not lose to a race of children." His generals bowed their heads, afraid to speak. One of them, General Arthur, finally stepped forward. "My lord, their tactics are new. They strike fast and disappear. Every time we respond, their ships are already gone. It's as if they knew our every move before it happened." Valthar slammed his fist against the table. "They are guessing. That is all. Increase patrols. Call back the border fleets." The general hesitated. "The border fleets are gone, sir. Destroyed." Silence filled the room. Valthar's silver-blue face darkened. "Then build more ships. I want their fleet hunted down and burned to dust." Far away in the quiet darkness near a red dwarf star, the human fleet waited. Hundreds of ships floated in silence, their lights dimmed to avoid detection. Inside the flagship UHS Resolute, Admiral Elena Ward stood beside the viewing glass, her reflection faintly visible against the stars. Around her, the crew moved quietly, calm but ready. Commander Ryan Cole approached, holding a datapad. "Reports from all fleets are in, ma'am. Valtari losses are heavy, and their command lines are broken. They're calling for reinforcements from deep space. Ward nodded slowly. Good, let them stretch their supply lines. The longer they chase shadows, the weaker they become. Cole hesitated before speaking again. The Council has requested contact. They say the galaxy is uneasy. Ward turned to him, her eyes calm but sharp. Uneasy is better than enslaved. She walked toward the central table where a holographic map displayed the stars. The glowing blue dots of the human fleet surrounded the red Valtari systems like a quiet storm. We'll give them time, she said. Let the Valtari wonder. Let the Council think. The next move must be perfect. On Earth, news of the victory spread quickly. Across cities and colonies, people filled the streets cheering and waving flags. After years of fear and loss, the sight of human ships winning battles felt like hope returning to life. In Geneva, President Aiden Cross stood before a crowd of reporters. His voice was calm, but pride shone in his eyes. The Confederation did not seek this war, he said, but we will not kneel to those who use peace as a weapon. Our fleet fights not for conquest, but for the right of every human to live free. The crowd erupted in applause, yet behind the scenes, Cross looked worried. He turned to his aide after the speech. Admiral Ward knows what she's doing, he said quietly. But if the Valtari retaliate too strongly, the entire Union could collapse. The aide nodded. The galaxy is watching, sir. Everyone wants to see what humanity does next. Cross sighed. Then let's make sure what they see is strength, not cruelty. Back near the Valtari border, Admiral Ward called her officers for a meeting. They gathered in the strategy room, where a large projection of the Valtari capital world shimmered in the air. A beautiful planet of silver oceans and crystal cities. This is Vara Prime, Ward said softly. The heart of their empire. They've ruled the galaxy from there for 1,000 years. Sarah Lynn, the young lieutenant, frowned. Are we going to attack it? Ward shook her head. Not yet. If we destroy their homeworld, we become what they think we are. No, we'll make them come to us. Commander Cole leaned forward. How? Ward smiled faintly. By reminding them that fear is louder than fire. The next phase began quietly. Human ships began broadcasting strange signals, coded messages in old Valtari military frequencies. Some were real, others were false. Valtari sensors picked up ghost fleets, phantom attacks, and impossible energy readings across dozens of systems. Their commanders rushed ships from one side of the empire to another, chasing illusions. Every time they moved their fleets, the humans struck somewhere else, always where they were weakest. Within days, the once mighty Dominion was trapped in confusion. On the Valtari capital, Chancellor Valthar watched as reports piled higher and higher. His advisors tried to calm him, but their voices only made him angrier. They're playing with us, he shouted. Mocking us, General Arthur replied carefully. It seems they're forcing us to overextend. Every time we move, they hit the other side. Valthar glared at the glowing map. Then we will not move. We will hold our ground and wait for them to come. But the humans did not come. They vanished again, silent as ghosts. On the Resolute, Admiral Ward received the latest transmission from Earth. President Cross's face appeared on the hologram. His tone serious. Elena, the Council is panicking. They're afraid you've started a war the Union can't control. Ward crossed her arms. The Union did nothing when the Valtari burned our colonies. Now they care? I understand, Cross said quietly. But the galaxy sees us as dangerous now. If they unite against us, we'll be outnumbered again. Ward's expression softened. Then we make them see the truth. We'll end this in a way they can't ignore. Cross nodded slowly. What's your plan? Ward looked out the window at the distant stars. We give the Valtari one last chance to stand down. And if they refuse, we show them what peace really means. 2 days later, a single human ship entered Valtari space, unarmed and alone. It broadcasted a message to the entire Dominion. This is Admiral Elena Ward of the Human Confederation. You have attacked our worlds and broken every promise of peace. Now you stand on the edge of your own destruction. We offer you one final chance. Withdraw your forces, end your occupation of our colonies, and meet us again, not as rulers, but as equals. The message played across every channel, heard by billions. On Vara Prime, Valthar listened with fury. She dares to speak of equality? He growled. But among his people, whispers began to spread. Some soldiers, tired of endless war, began to question their leaders. The humans had fought with strength, yes, but also with mercy. They had not bombed cities or attacked civilians. That made even their enemies pause. In the silence that followed, the galaxy waited. The humans had spoken. The Valtari had yet to reply. On Celeste Prime, alien ambassadors gathered again. The Elari representative spoke softly. They could have destroyed the Dominion already. But they didn't. Perhaps humans truly want peace, and just not the kind built on fear. The Korai diplomat nodded. Maybe it's time we listen to them, the council speaker sighed. Then let us hope the Valtari listen too. Because if they don't... He looked at the stars outside the window. The storm will return. Aboard the Resolute, Admiral Ward stood at the command deck, the stars reflecting off her uniform. She had seen war, loss, and betrayal, but she still believed in one thing, that peace meant strength with honor. Commander Cole approached quietly. Do you think they'll surrender, ma'am? Ward gave a small smile. No. But I think they'll finally understand what they're facing. Outside, the vast fleet drifted in perfect silence. Ships lined up like a wall of light across the stars. It was the silence, before the storm, and every being in the galaxy could feel that something unstoppable was about to begin. The first light of dawn streaked across the stars, though there was no sun in the void to warm the ships. Yet across Valtari space, the galaxy seemed to tremble as human ships slowly emerged from the shadows. The silence that had followed their initial attacks vanished like mist. Now the humans were ready to strike. On the bridge of the UHS Resolute, Admiral Elena Ward stood, her hands resting lightly on the command rail. Her officers moved with calm efficiency around her, monitoring hundreds of human vessels spread across the sector. Every ship waited for the signal. Every crew member focused on the same purpose. Commander Rian Cole leaned over the tactical console. All fleets report green, ma'am. Target coordinates are locked, energy reserves at maximum. Valtari defenses are spread thin. We can begin whenever you say. Ward's gaze lingered on the holographic map, where red dots marked Valtari fleets, stations, and planetary defense grids. They looked impressive, until she overlaid the positions of her own ships. Blue dots spread across space like a river of light encircling the enemy. Give the order, she said quietly. Cole's fingers danced across the console. All ships execute Phase 1. Target only military installations. Civilian zones are off limits. Confirm engagement. Across the galaxy, the human fleet moved as one. Sleek silver ships leaped from cloaked positions, their engines leaving faint blue trails. Valtari sensors scrambled to track them, but they were already too late. On Vera Prime, Chancellor Sarix Valthar watched the alarms flash across his command board. Every screen showed a different attack. Weapons depots, orbital defense stations, and fighter fleets all under precise assault. What is this? Valthar hissed. They're everywhere at once. General Arthur answered calmly, though his voice carried tension. Sir, it appears the humans have mastered a level of coordination that is unprecedented. Every fleet moves with perfect timing, striking weak points we didn't even know existed. Valthar slammed a hand against the table. We cannot allow this. All units, focus fire. Do not let them reach Vera Prime. But even as his orders rang out, the human fleet anticipated them. Intercept ships cut off enemy reinforcements while long-range cannons disabled their orbital guns. Valtari fighters launched in desperation, only to find themselves outmaneuvered by smaller, faster human ships. The UHS Resolute shuddered slightly as its engines adjusted for the next attack. Ward stood firm, her eyes on the stars. Report, she commanded. Lieutenant Sarah Lynn tapped her console. Phase 1 complete. All designated military targets disabled. Civilian populations untouched. Casualties limited to combat personnel. Ward nodded. Good, the galaxy is watching. They must see humans can fight, and fight fairly. Cole added. Phase 2 targets the main supply corridors. Valtari reinforcements are coming from the outer rim, but we can intercept them. Then intercept them, Ward said simply. In the void between stars, fleets clashed with quiet intensity. There were no screams or chaos like in old tales of war. Every strike was calculated, every maneuver deliberate. Human ships moved in perfect formation, surrounding Valtari vessels before they could escape. Even the Valtari began to understand the humans were unlike any enemy they had faced. They were fast but not reckless, strong but disciplined. Every human ship seemed to anticipate the next Valtari move, adapting instantly. A Valtari captain whispered in disbelief to his comrade, "How can they see everything?" "How can they be everywhere at once?" Another replied softly, "They're not everywhere. They're smarter than we are." Back on the Resolute, Ward watched as a Valtari flagship tried to escape the human net. She gave a calm order. "Deploy interceptors. Disable engines, do not destroy. Civilian zones must remain untouched." Moments later, streams of human ships flared across space, cutting off the Valtari vessel. With precision lasers and tractor fields, they immobilized the ship without harming its crew. The Chancellor's face appeared on the communications screen, pale and furious. "You cannot do this," he shouted. "We are the Dominion. You cannot defeat us." Ward's voice was steady. "We are not here to destroy you, Chancellor. We are here to show you that strength and justice can exist together." Everywhere in the galaxy, races watched the battle unfold. The Ilari, known for their wisdom, murmured among themselves. "They are not reckless," said one. "They strike only where necessary." "They are not cruel," replied another. "Even in victory, they show mercy." For the first time, many species saw humanity in a new light. Not as brash newcomers, not as fragile humans from a small blue world, but as a people capable of extraordinary strategy, discipline, and moral judgment. In the midst of battle, Ward directed Phase 3. Valtari supply lines were being cut, but the humans did not chase blindly. Every squadron moved with careful coordination, ensuring that no non-combatant vessels were harmed. Lieutenant Lin spoke softly. "Admiral, they're trying to regroup near the outer asteroid belt. They'll be ready for the next attack." Ward smiled faintly. "Then we'll meet them there. Full formation." The Valtari, desperate and cornered, launched their elite fighter squadron. They swarmed toward human ships, expecting a decisive victory. But as the squadron moved, human vessels executed perfect maneuvers, intercepting, flanking, and neutralizing them one by one. Even elite pilots could not anticipate the humans' coordination. Their speed, timing, and clever use of gravity fields and asteroid cover left them trapped and exposed. From the bridge of the Resolute, Ward observed the battle with calm authority. "Focus on containment, not destruction," she ordered. "Let them see what organized humanity can do." Cole glanced at her, impressed. "Ma'am, they've never faced tactics like this. Every move we make, they're forced to react. They're learning too slowly." Ward's eyes glimmered. "That's the point. Strength without understanding is nothing. They must recognize not just our power, but our discipline." By nightfall, the Valtari forces were in full retreat. Many of their ships were disabled or trapped. Their orbital cannons and supply stations lay in ruins, yet their civilians remained unharmed. Valthar's voice rang across the galaxy once more. Desperate and commanding. "Order all fleets to converge on the humans. Leave nothing standing." On the Resolute, Ward shook her head. "Let them come. Every move they make now exposes them further. We will not destroy them unnecessarily, only stop their war machines." Even in retreat, the Valtari began to respect the humans' skill. Soldiers whispered to each other, "They fight hard, but fair." Officers noted the strange behavior. Human fleets never fired randomly, never attacked the weak. They struck with precision, patience, and purpose. It was a kind of strength no one had seen before. As the dust of the battle settled across the stars, the galaxy witnessed something remarkable. Human ships returned to patrol lines, ready for the next strike, but disciplined enough to wait. Civilians on every affected planet emerged unharmed and safe. On Celeste Prime, alien ambassadors discussed what they had seen. The Karai diplomat spoke softly. They could have destroyed the Dominion completely, yet they held back. The Alari ambassador nodded. "That is humanity. They fight with honor. They win with justice. Perhaps this is the way peace should be enforced." Even in defeat, the Valtari could not hide their awe. For the first time in history, they saw humans not as prey, not as a threat, but as equals. Formidable, disciplined, and fair. In the aftermath, Ward addressed her officers. "Today the galaxy saw what humanity can do. We struck hard, yes, but we did not lose our principles. That is what makes us different. That is why we survive. That is why we will be remembered." Cole smiled. "The Council is going to talk about this for centuries." Ward looked out at the stars. "Let them. We are not here to be admired. We are here to ensure freedom, for humans and for anyone who seeks it. And if the Valtari learn anything, let it be this: we fight with honor, and we fight to protect, not destroy. The human fleet glided silently through the void, engines glowing faintly like a river of blue fire. The stars reflected off their hulls, bright and steady. Across the galaxy, races whispered the name of humanity with awe and newfound respect. The Valtari learned, finally, that humans were not only clever and strong, but disciplined and just, and that made them more dangerous than anyone could imagine. The silence of space had returned, but it was no longer uneasy. It was a quiet filled with respect. Across the stars, fleets moved cautiously, scanning for threats that might never come. Humanity had shown the galaxy what they could do, and now every species was watching, waiting to see what humans would do next. On the bridge of the UHS Resolute, Admiral Elena Ward stood beside the main viewing window. The fleet stretched behind them like a ribbon of silver across the void. Ships from Earth and its colonies gleamed in the starlight, each one carrying trained crews ready to act, yet patient and disciplined. Commander Rian Cole approached quietly. "Reports from all sectors, ma'am. The Valtari fleets are retreating. Some are requesting immediate communication." Ward's eyes did not leave the stars. "Good. Prepare a single channel. Patch in all the Valtari commanders and the Council. It's time they hear from us, not with weapons, but with words." Cole raised an eyebrow. "Words after all that?" Ward turned to him, a faint smile on her lips. "Words can be stronger than weapons if they are backed by truth." The galaxy held its breath as the message was broadcast. Ships across multiple systems paused, sensors tracking the human fleet with curiosity and caution. Ward's voice carried through the communication networks, calm, steady, and firm. "This is Admiral Elena Ward of the Human Confederation. The Valtari Dominion has attacked our colonies, broken every promise of peace, and brought war to our homes. We have fought not to conquer but to protect. We have struck only at military targets. We have avoided civilian harm at every opportunity. Today the galaxy has witnessed what humanity can do, not out of hatred but out of necessity. We now offer a new path, one of fairness, safety, and mutual respect. Withdraw from occupied systems, respect all civilizations, and meet us at the next Galactic Summit. Together we can build a lasting peace." Across the galaxy, the message repeated. On Celeste Prime, delegates whispered, some in awe, some in fear. The Iolari ambassador leaned toward the Karai and murmured, "They could have destroyed the Dominion entirely, yet they offer peace." Even among the Valtari there were murmurs of hesitation. Soldiers, officers, and even commanders began to see that the humans' victory was not merely about power. It was about honor. On Vara Prime, Chancellor Sarix Valthar paced his command chamber, his face pale. He had seen his fleets beaten, his supply lines shattered, and his strongest warships captured or disabled. Yet the humans had not attacked civilians. They had shown restraint. "Admiral Ward," he muttered under his breath. "She fights differently. She does not destroy indiscriminately." General Arthur spoke carefully. "Sir, it seems they want peace. Perhaps they truly wish for the galaxy to be safe." Valthar's eyes narrowed. Peace on their terms, or war on theirs? "I do not know which is more frightening." Back on the Resolute, Ward waited for the response. She stood silently, watching the stars, knowing the galaxy had changed forever. A signal arrived. It was from the Valtari Chancellor. He appeared on the screen, his expression serious but restrained. "Admiral Ward," he said, his voice measured, "we accept your terms. We will withdraw from all occupied systems and attend the Galactic Summit. It seems humanity has lessons to teach us." Ward inclined her head. "Peace is earned, Chancellor, not taken by force but by the courage to act rightly." The message echoed across the Council channels. Delegates from every species murmured in astonishment. Some applauded quietly. Others were simply silent. Humanity had won not only battles but respect. Across human colonies, celebrations erupted, but there was no chaos, no destruction. Streets were filled with families cheering, children waving flags, and communities united in pride. Earth had survived. Humanity had survived. And the galaxy had learned why. On Earth, President Aiden Cross addressed the world in a broadcast seen by billions. "Today," he said, "humanity has proven that courage, discipline, and honor are stronger than fear. We have defended our homes, protected the innocent, and shown the galaxy what it means to be human. We fight not to dominate but to protect. We win not to conquer but to preserve freedom." and now we extend a hand to all worlds that wish for peace. Humanity is ready to lead, not by force but by example. Cheering erupted across Earth and its colonies. But in the hearts of leaders, a new understanding had taken root. Humanity was no longer the young race they had dismissed. Humanity had become a symbol of determination, justice, and hope. On the Resolute, Ward turned to her officers. "This is not the end," she said softly. "It is only the beginning. We have shown the galaxy our strength. Now we must show them our vision for peace." Commander Cole nodded. "And the Council? They will follow," Ward replied. "They have no choice. They have seen what humans can do, and how humans fight with honor. That is what sets us apart." Lieutenant Lin, still young and wide-eyed, asked, "Admiral, will the Valtari truly change?" Ward's eyes softened. "Some will never change, but all will remember. The galaxy remembers those who fight with both strength and fairness. That is humanity's legacy." The Terran Accord was formed soon after. Delegates from dozens of worlds gathered under the guidance of humanity, creating a new agreement. Unlike the old treaties imposed by empires, this accord was built on equality, trust, and fairness. Valtari representatives attended the meetings, humbled but respectful. They had lost battles, yes, but they had learned that violence alone did not command loyalty or respect. Humanity had shown them a new way, a way of strength balanced with mercy. During the first council session, Admiral Ward stood before the assembly. "Today," she said, "we are not here to fight each other. We are here to build a galaxy where freedom and fairness are not privileges of the powerful, but rights of every being. Humans are not here to dominate, we are here to lead by example. And we invite all who seek peace to join us." The hall erupted in applause. The moment was historic, not for conquest, but for hope. In the following months, humanity's reputation spread across the stars. Stories were told of their courage, discipline, and honor. The name human became synonymous with determination, fairness, and unity. Even the Valtari, once proud and unyielding, began to respect the humans' ways. "They fight like no other," one commander admitted quietly. "Not just with strength, but with wisdom." The galaxy remembered that humans could be fierce in battle, yes, but always with principles. That combination of courage and morality made them truly extraordinary. On Earth, Admiral Ward looked out from the bridge of the Resolute, now docked for celebrations. She watched children playing under the sunlight, families walking through the streets, and ships preparing for peaceful missions. Commander Cole approached. "Admiral, the galaxy looks different now, doesn't it?" Ward smiled faintly. "Yes, Cole. It looks different because the galaxy has seen humanity as it truly is. Not just survivors, not just warriors, but protectors. That is what they will remember." The two stood silently, watching the horizon. Above, the stars sparkled as if celebrating the new era. Humanity had fought, humanity had survived, and humanity had earned its place among the stars. The final message from Ward to the galaxy was simple, broadcast on every channel. "We came to the stars searching for friends. We were tested, we were challenged, and we were forced to fight. But we have learned that strength is not measured by power alone, and victory is not measured by destruction. Humanity will fight when necessary, but we will build peace wherever we can. That is who we are. That is what the galaxy must remember." The words echoed across countless worlds. For the first time, species that once feared humans began to trust them, and some even dared to hope. Above all, the human fleet remained ready, disciplined, and strong. They had fought with honor, protected the innocent, and reshaped the galaxy without cruelty. The stars themselves seemed to recognize the courage of humanity, a race small in number but limitless in spirit. And so, the galaxy remembered the day humans stood for justice, not conquest. The day they showed that even in the face of overwhelming force, strength paired with fairness could change the course of history. For the first time, the universe understood why humans were remarkable. Not because they could fight, but because they knew how to fight right. And in that moment, the stars shone a little brighter, lighting the path to a new era.